name's Zoe. I'm the Tipsy Psychic. Today, we're going to talk about the compatibility between a Taurus Gemini Cusper. I'm a Taurus Gemini Cusper. And a Gemini. A Tauremini and a Gemini. It rhymes. Expect a bumpy ride. There is nothing smooth or easygoing about this relationship. Sorry to break the bad news to you. It's really important that you both feel like you have the liberty to do your own thing. This relationship often goes in the weirdest directions. My fellow Taureminis, when you're trying to communicate, it may feel natural to just be blunt and direct about how you feel. Trust me, I know this. There's nothing wrong with being straightforward, but a Gemini might make you feel like you're coming across as aggressive. Discovering who you are to each other is a huge part of this relationship. And you have to be careful to maintain a little mystery. Don't lay all your cards out on the table at once. Keep your Gemini guessing a little bit. It's going to be very important to be in tune with your psychic self. Without that psychic intuition, this relationship usually just falls apart. Gemini would be intriguing. You find yourself butting heads and opposing each other a lot. You probably won't even realize how much weakness you are sending their way, like how vulnerable you look to them. They might only see your flaws. You are never happy with just being average. Things always have to be interesting. You might find yourself butting heads and opposing each other a lot. You gotta try to at least keep things interesting and unique. Try to be compassionate when you talk to them about something that's bothering you. Don't lose yourself or change for anybody, especially not them. You might feel like they're trying to change who you are. Uphold your goals, your dreams, your fantasies. Don't let go. And do not suppress your uniqueness. I'm serious. Not kidding. Seriously. Gemini would be fun and goofy. You have many irresistible qualities that you share, and you both are very charming. Gemini is represented with twins. They have multiple sides to themselves, and they don't always show all of their sides at once. They usually only show one side of themselves, and so they might project a lot of negativity onto you without you realizing it even, or them realizing it. When you all are dating, it might feel like you really want to spend all your free time together. Scratch that. You don't just want it, you need it. It's like you both want to be your own people, you want to take time to yourself, but then bam, somehow you're always together. Just can't help yourself, can you? You find each other very interesting, and you want to be in each other's company more than you're willing to admit. You both need to feel like you can speak up and talk to each other. Communication usually isn't a huge issue for you, but you gotta make sure you're calm when you communicate. Make sure you're both saying what you both want to say to each other, and you're not cutting each other off. Don't forget about number one, you. If you want things to work out, then you need to find a way to be more responsible. You both have a very strong inner child, and sometimes when you meet, instead of getting to know each other as adults, grown-ass people, you get to know each other as inner children, your inner children bond, instead of your mature selves. Just when you thought you were all over the place, my fellow Tauremini, then you date a Gemini, and a Gemini is going to make you feel super stable. You realize how unsteady a Gemini is, and it's hard to feel like they're loyal to you, and you do need some consistency. You both are excellent advocates for the people and the things that you care about. And you're both very good at communicating. You're also very quick thinkers. So you would think that you get along really well. You might feel like there's a lot of blame going around, or you harbor resentment towards one another. But you might really need to dig deep, do some emotional inner work, be your own therapist for a bit, figure out what's going on within yourself in your life, because more often then not you are projecting or they're projecting, and it's no one's fault. You may not even realize it that you're projecting onto one another. No matter how much you keep trying to take a step back and be your own people and get some space, somehow you always end up spending time together. You may feel a little insecure or envious of your Gemini, and your Gemini might feel the same way. But in order for things to work out in your favor, you're gonna have to stop. You're gonna have to be like, look, self, what the fuck is going on with me? Let's evaluate the situation. Let's do some deep inner work and learn to love ourselves. Oh yes, deeply. You need to understand why you feel the way you feel, why you're thinking the way you're thinking. Understand yourself. It may feel easy to rely on them, maybe even too much. Codependency can be a big issue for this match. The more time you spend together, the more unhealthy that dependency can become. Gemini may not really even know what they want. They don't even know what they're looking for. And that can drive you crazy. You both get a thrill out of winning. Ugh, I'm so sweaty right now. You both are clever, and things can seem like a contest. Geminis will need a lot of love from you, and they crave your attention, especially when you're first dating. You might like to tell your friends about each other. Watch out for gossip, because what you guys have to say about what you do with each other is, it's a lot. It's a lot, but in a good way. Watch out for rumors. Somehow they always surface when you both are together. It is good to be open, but you need to go about your honesty in a mature way. It's really important to stay focused in this relationship. Keep your eye on the prize, guys. There needs to be some sort of path, some sort of direction to it. Even if it's crazy, you both are your own people and you each have a lot to bring to the table. Make sure you keep working on yourself and you keep working on exploring how special you are. Yes, you are special. You know what you want in a partner. You know what you're looking for. There is often a love triangle in this combination. Oh my gosh, this is a big thing actually, and it can tear your relationship apart if you're not careful. Gemini really appreciates your input. They like your point of view. They like hearing what you have to say. PDA isn't really a priority in this relationship, public display of affection. You're not super open in group gatherings about your love life with each other. You really value intimacy with one another and you keep it that way a lot of the time. But of course, there's always gossip. Unless they're a really close friend, then you'll tell them everything, of course. When it comes to fighting or going against each other in this relationship, it's important to watch out. If the Taurus Gemini Cusp, is more in charge, more dominant, wears the pants, whatever you want to call it, in the relationship, then things have a higher success rate. But remember, the Gemini has to be the more mature one here for things really to have a chance. When you've been dating each other for a while and like things are going really good, you're in a long-term committed relationship, it won't even feel like you really need to get married a lot of the time. Your relationship is almost already like that at that point. I suggest you keep it that way. Marriage is really, really like not good for this pair usually. It just doesn't seem to usually work out. But that doesn't mean you can't have a long-lasting relationship without that type of documented commitment. I know this is surprising, but you might feel exasperated with how many mood swings your Gemini goes through, and you thought you were the mood swingy one. It can feel really overwhelming. A lot of the time, you find yourself fighting for the love and approval of something else or someone else. The Gemini will really appreciate how easy it is to communicate with you. When you hang out, you usually do it one-on-one. You don't really go on group dates together a lot. You like to keep it between the two of you, and your experiences that you share together are really special and unique. Having kids together can be a really, really difficult thing when you're married because, as I said, marriages don't usually work out. The big obstacle of divorce when you have kids is trying to figure out who will have custody over this kid or that kid, and you kind of will have to work on figuring all that out. It can be a challenge to come to an agreement over your responsibilities and delegate them in a proper, mature way. If you've been friends for a while, you can often become lovers. It can just evolve and love happens and you can explore it further. It often turns into a very strong love affair when it does. You might start off being really good at verbally communicating with each other, and as time goes on, you start to communicate on a whole new level. You're both very empathic and intuitive, and that will just strengthen over time the more and more time you spend together. So it's really important to develop that side of yourself. The more intuitive and in tune with your psychic senses you are, the better things will be. You'll be more connected to them, and you both will just understand each other on a deeper, more important level. It's really hard to just sit still and watch as the other one succeeds. There might be some competitiveness. At first, you may not even realize how much your Gemini has in common with you. You both handle criticism the same way. You both talk or babble and are prone to saying a little too much at the wrong times. And you may be a little judgmental. And you both strive for happiness and joy and individuality and empathy and love. Back to not getting married. Don't do it. You usually, when you do it, because you'll do it anyway, you usually spend a lot of money on the ceremony. You both want to have a celebration, and then you regret it later because your marriage doesn't work out. And of course, there's different ways to strengthen this relationship and keep things going, and I'm mentioning a lot of them now. But it's something that you're going to have to fight for, and you're going to have a lot of regrets if you're not careful. And maybe a lot of debt, too. Things can get very messy and horrific when you break up or divorce. Friendships are really hard to maintain between the two of you. They do work, but somehow other things take priority over your friendship. This can be a really caring relationship. You both have a very strong psychic energy. You merge very easily into each other's lives, and you're both very in tune with the other. If you're not trying to find love with the other one, then it usually just doesn't happen. If you're actively dating and you're looking for love and you meet them, that's one thing. But if you know them from somewhere, or you met them at a class and you're not actively looking to date someone, then it's probably not going to become a love thing with them. That's not usually how it goes. You might bond over a hobby that you both like, or a show you both watch, but you don't usually just give your heart out to each other. There's no instant connection, usually. It's really something that you have to be looking for. A Gemini will seem to understand you more, and they'll understand you first. Sometimes you might feel like you're just putting up with them. If there is any cheating going on, then it's usually secretive, very secretive. Unfortunately, it's very common for you to stab each other in the back. It's somehow very hard for you to trust one another, and it is not uncommon for there to be love affairs, especially when you both are married. Crazy mood swings would make your marriage very chaotic. Things can get abusive at times. Usually not physically though, more mentally or verbally abusive or emotionally, but usually not physical. At least steamy makeup sex usually is a huge part of this relationship. That seems to be how you all solve your problems in the end. It's very hard to tell the difference between a platonic relationship with them and a love relationship with them. They're kind of the same. The worst happens when there's someone else involved. Like I said, love triangles are a really big thing with this match. and they can tear you apart. You might feel like a target because the Gemini is going to often feel like they can project all their problems onto you, especially when you're the one who usually seems more put together. They just expect you to be their punching bag sometimes. Flings between the both of you are very passionate. There is a lot of appreciation and admiration, and it's usually very lighthearted. It's not serious. If you're not avoiding fighting with each other, then you are fighting with each other in one way or another, even if the arguments aren't super straightforward and you're not outright yelling at each other. There is some kind of conflict going on. And if you're in a relationship with a Gemini and that hasn't happened yet, it will. It's inevitable. Can you get through it? Yes. Will it be easy? No. As a Gemini, you're not used to being the rock. No, we are free spirits. We are butterflies. We are not rocks. But with a Gemini, you will be able to experience what it is to be the rock. And that might not be your thing. You might not like being that. You're usually the weird one and the crazy one. What's up with that? This is new territory for you. Your spats can last for months and years, really long periods of time. If you've been friends for years, the Gemini is usually the one who is going to be crushing on you. It's very common for you both to be friends, and then the Gemini has a thing for you, but they hide it for a really long time, or they're really not straightforward about it, and then you find out, and woo, sparks fly, and you fall in love, and yeah. So your Gemini friend might be harboring some feelings for you. Wink, wink. Your love is like a battlefield, battlefield, battlefield. Da, 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 da. Geminis actually often are the ones who have sex dreams about you. They're the ones who fantasize about you. Like, you are going to be maybe in the back of their mind, whether they want to admit it or not. So, use that power, my fellow Geminis. Use it. Maybe not. That sounds bad. Hey, when it comes to arguments, you have met your match. So this is going to be a very interesting match. I wish you lots of luck if you are together. I would love to hear more in the comment section below from you. If you are a Gemini or if you are a Tauremini, please let me know. Look forward to hearing from you. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, y'all.